Shabbos Kodesh Parshas Naso Tavshin Pei Aleph 5781 from Yerushalayim Mir HaKodesh. In this week's parsha, we learn about the carbon of the Siyam, and by the Siyam we look and we see how much gold they gave and how many animals they gave. That must have run a nice bill by the farmer. They gave. All of a sudden, when it comes to the wagons, we are finding that they're in the carpool lane and they're sharing their wagons because there was only 6 wagons for 12 shvatim. That means every 2 had to share. Another point that we need to notice in this week's parsha, we know already that a carbon of a yachid, an individual's carbon, is not brought on Shabbos. Yet when it comes to the carbon of the Nesiim, the Yalkut Shmoni brings down, quotes from Rabbi Shmuel, explains that Hashem saw that the Nesiim respected each other. There was a certain unity and achdas, and ahava that they had amongst each other, that by bringing the same karbanos, that he allowed them to even bring these karbanos on Shabbos. We need to understand what Rabbi Shmuel is telling us. You see, the Nesiim were not told to bring these karbanos. These were karbanos that they brought voluntarily. They brought it on their own. They did not speak to each other about what they would bring. So what was this respect that they gave the other Nesiim? See, the fact that they all brought the exact same carbon, this tells us that they all had the same motivation, and therefore Hashem caused them all to bring the same carbon, because their sole motivation was Kiddush Kvod Shamayim and not personal kavod. Hashem inspired each of the Nesiim to bring the same carbon to show that they all had the same intentions. So now we understand what the respect the Nesiim had for each other. Sometimes when a person does a good thing with the wrong intentions, you do not want others to do the same thing. I'm doing it. Why is he also doing it? Because he thinks that the other person doing this action will take away from his covet. But that was not the case here. Each Nasi's sole intent was Kiddush Kvod Shamayim, to such an extent that they were happy to watch the same Kvod Shamayim coming from the other Nesiim's karbanos. The respect we are referring to here is the lack of bad feeling towards the others for their karbanos and the genuine happiness that was felt instead. You see, this tells us why the Nesiim were allowed to bring their karbanos on Shabbos. They all had one motivation: to cause a Kiddush Hashem. They were happy with their friends' karbanos, and therefore their karbanos were not considered individual karbanos, rather as those of the tzibur, which may be brought on Shabbos. See, another time in history we talk about wagons. Speaking of wagons, when Yosef reveals himself to his brothers and he's sending a message back up to his father that he's alive, he sends back wagons, and we were all taught as little kids like La Rufa, because that was the last thing he learns with Yaakov, and that may be true. But when Yaakov sees the Agolis, when he hears the news that Yosef is alive, he's happy. He's relieved. When he sees the Agolis, his ruach, his mamash gewalt, it lifts his whole spirit. Why does it? Why would he hears Yosef? He's happy to know that the brothers didn't kill him out of their hatred. That he's happy. But his spirit is so lifted when he sees the Hagalos, because Baruch Kodshoy, he saw this much later on in history, these Hagalos of the Nesiim, that they would join together and they would be happy with each other's karbanos of being Marbek Kvod Shamayim. And that is the lesson in Parshas Naso, that when we're doing the right thing for the right reason, to bring Kvod Shamayim, to honor God's name, so when we see other people doing the exact same thing, honoring God's name, not only do we not feel upset and angry and how could you be doing what I'm doing, we are excited for them to join in on our journey, because that brings more Kvod Shamayim, and that's the ultimate goal. And Maloi Kol Haaretz Kavoda. Thank you so much for listening. As always, any questions, comments, or feedback, you can leave in the comment section below. Have a Heilig Azisa, sweet Shabbos.